And welcome into this week's edition. We're 2 weeks away from Christmas, and Coach Stephen Force is going to join the show. Harper Hudnall might join us today, and then a live look at Coach Kehoe and the boys' soccer team as they have started their season. But Coach Force, big game. Tuesday night, rematch of the overall. You look at Parklane, and it's one you should have had last year in the overall. So it's one of those things I asked you. Said, how are you going to be on the show? You're like, just depends on how we play. And you got to be pleased with your girls and how they played Tuesday night.
Real pleased with how we played. The Robert Wilson from Mississippi Sports, asked me and called it a rematch too. And I said, it's hard for me to say it's a rematch because both teams are a little different. We're certainly a different team this year, and that was last year's club. The first time we've played them since the overall finals, yes, of course. And did we want to come out and play well? I think in the back of some of those girls' minds, they still had a few things to prove. And,
a little extra fire.
A little extra fire,
yeah.
But more importantly, it was the first conference game of the year, and that was
That's
a
right.
huge game. And
That's right.
I think the girls feel like they left a little bit on the table last year in the overall finals, but that was a totally different ball club we had last year, and we're different this year. And I think some of those that were returning wanted to come out and play extra hard last night.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that the season ended last year the way it did, but we're playing really well this year. And last night was just a little bit of a taste of how well the girls can play. I'm not very good at handing out team compliments, but I told them after the game that that was the most complete game I've coached in a long, long time. I can't remember the last time the whole team played such a complete game. And the top 7 girls in the rotation that we play every night in the close games, all of them played well. It was huge. So it was just a complete game. It was what we're capable of doing.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we can do it a few more times this year because we're going to have to.
Yeah, and I go back to earlier this season as we talked on the show that the early preseason, I know you have a pre-Christmas, after-Christmas postseason deal that you talk about, but you're still in the pre-Christmas, but you've played Biloxi, who you had going in the fourth quarter, who's arguably the top team in Mississippi. You played Tishomingo County, who's a top 5 team. Those kind of games have set you up for your 60-39 win last night over the overall champions. Now, going back, and it's a new chapter, it's a new book, obviously. But what did you see in a complete game? What did you see from your team that made it a complete game? Gabby Gray had 11, Anna Morgan Anderson added 19. So there's a different leading scorer every night. When you look at Greenville Christian, you had Annie Toller that led the way. What did you see that made it a complete game?
Well, first of all, talking about the scheduling, I was visiting with Coach Rutland from Parklane before the game, and we were talking about who all they had played. And she knew who I had played, and I had known some of the teams she'd played, but their toughest team they had played all year was Prep. And they lost to Prep early in the season, probably about 3 weeks ago. And then she knew we'd played Biloxi and knew we'd played Choctaw Central and Tisch County. And she said, y'all just played a much more competitive schedule that helps y'all. And I think it showed last night, and I think it was evident, and I think she sees that now. We did the same thing last year, and then we get beat in the overall finals. So, early on, I really think our scheduling helped us definitely at this point. Building on it and continuing to build on it will be key throughout the rest of the season. As far as the complete game goes, defensively, it was a complete game defensively. I think they had 31 points or less when I subbed out. No, it was less. I think they were in the
up
20s.
32 at one point.
Yeah, when I subbed Anna Morgan and Presley out at the beginning of the fourth quarter, they were in the 20s. And at that point, they have a dandy dozen in Carlisle Caruth. She had 0 points. Presley held her to 0 points. They have what I believe is their best player on the team, and Zoe Alford, who's averaging about 16 a game. She had 0 points. Neither one of their top players had scored until I brought Presley and Anna Morgan out. But not only did they do such a good job on those girls, but it was the rest of the girls. It was Gabby and Margaret Ann and Anna Kate who knew what their assignments were as far as being able to help off on those girls when they came off the screens, and they were able to just do it perfectly last night. And even when we came off the bench, Margaret Ann Hollis, she had 8 rebounds, led us in rebounds last night.
Yeah.
Alyssa Dampier, her presence, I think she had 2 or 3 blocks, and I think she had 3 rebounds. Just defensively, it seemed like we were clicking on all cylinders, and it just seemed like that they were not moving at full speed, and it was a bad combination for them last night. Now, hey, when we go down there and play in a few weeks after Christmas, I'm sure they'll play better. I'm sure it'll be a different story, but hopefully we can, piece things together enough to where we can get the same kind of result. A win by 1 to me is just as good as a win by 30. Right. But yeah, just defensively, it was a complete game. We had 9 points off the bench in Margaret Ann, and then Alyssa. Gabby probably played her best game defensively and offensively. She shot good shots and she made good passes last night. And just all around, it was a complete game. If there was one area that, we didn't do great, we were still, I think, only 5 for 20 from the 3-point line, but we took good shots. And
if you don't shoot it, though, it's not going in.
No, if you don't shoot it, it's not going in. And the right girls were taking those shots last night, and we just happened to be a night where we just played well.
Well, we look back at the past week as well. You took care of Hartfield Academy 63-36 last Friday night, and then you went on the road and played Greenville Christian 173-23. So you're 13-3 going into the break. You got Brookhaven Academy. You got your second conference game on Friday night, and then you head on December 12th to go to Jackson Prep. What are some things as we round out the first part of how you define the season goes? This is pre-Christmas. What are you looking for your girls to finish this out in the Christmas holidays?
Well, at the beginning of the season, the first part of the season, I'm really looking for the girls' chemistry to come together and for them to kind of bond as a team on the floor, everybody to have an understanding of what roles they have. At the beginning of the season, each girl, of course, you talk to them about their roles and stuff at the beginning of the season, but until they get out on the floor and they play a few games, they don't start to understand their roles as a teammate or as a leader or, as a senior or coming off the bench. And every one of them's got a role, and it takes a few games. And I think we're rounding into that situation where all the girls know their positions, they know their roles, and it's starting to show. Last night was evident that, everybody played their role and played it really well. And that's probably the biggest thing. We look for chemistry and everybody understanding their roles, and then we'll come out, play a few more games during Christmas, and then move into January. Even though we have a couple conference games before Christmas, most of them are after Christmas. And, once you come back after Christmas, everybody's established their roles and what they're supposed to do. And then you just hope to just move on from there and continue to get better. But I think we're doing that. I think everybody understands what I'm looking for, and they understand what they're supposed to do. And that's probably the biggest things, and it's showing up right now.
Yeah, the continuity that you see with especially defense. I think offense is a little different. You got to be cohesive, whether you're in a zone, you're playing man, or you're pressing, you're playing a matchup zone. You have to understand. And I think the biggest thing you hear from, I was at the soccer game last night, but you hear from coaches all the time, you have to talk, and especially you have to talk on defense. Have you seen a difference from last year's team to this year's team on talking and understanding each other's roles and helping each other out on the court?
Well, defensively we're much faster this year. Much quicker. We're still long, but we're much more aggressive defensively. And now, as far as communication goes, this group I've got is really weird. We might go through a whole practice, and the only people that talk are the coaches, which drives me nuts. I like a loud practice. I like the girls communicating because it carries over. Right. And then we might play a game like, Hartfield or Greenville Christian where you don't hear much from them. But then last night, everybody was talking. Yeah. Everybody understood the importance of the game being a conference game, and I'm playing a really good team, and everybody was communicating last night. Everybody was talking. We didn't have any breakdowns when we subbed on who was guarding who. It just seemed like everything was clicking from that standpoint. But communication is key, especially on defense. And sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't. You like to have it all the time, but we definitely had it last night.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward, Friday night is your next conference opponent. You play Brookhaven Academy. What What are you seeing from them?
Well, Brookhaven's a good ball club. You know, we're going to be playing at home. They've got a really good player and the Thurman girl, and they've got this is their coach. This is his second year there, and I think he's got them playing, you know, the way they're capable of playing. Again, they haven't played the competition we've played. You know, they'll be tough. It'll be our third game in 4 days, and we'll have to come out and really play focused because it's one of those trap games because, you know, tomorrow night we got to play Jackson Prep, who's another rival game. And I'm not saying Parklane's a rival, but the situation arose last night after the overall and being the first conference game. That was an emotional roller coaster last night for the girls. We've got to be able to get back up tomorrow for a big rival game with Jackson Prep. And if we're capable of doing that, then we've got to turn around and play a second conference game at home. So, you know, it's going to be a tough week mentally and physically on these girls. I would definitely say that Brookhaven is a trap game because I think that we are focused on prep. The girls are, because the girls are still trying to realize who's conference and who's not.
Right.
And prep being sandwiched in 2 conference games, you know, they're really focused on prep. And we'll get to Brookhaven on Friday afternoon.
Yeah, especially prep coming off that loss
to
Simpson Academy on Tuesday night. So they're going to be eager in their home gym to get a W.
They're going to be eager. They've lost 2 in a row. They lost to Leak on Saturday. They lost to Simpson last night. They know it's going to be a tough ball game. And, yeah, they're going to come out ready to play, and they're going to be focused on us, and they're going to be getting after it.
Nice. Well, thanks for joining us, taking time out of your schedule to join us on Hey Coach. You can tune in and watch the Lady Patriots tonight as they take on Jackson Prep. And then Friday night, they hit the road to Jackson Prep, and then they're back home on Friday night in DeWeese Hall as they take on Brookhaven Academy. Coach Force, anything before I let you go?
Nope, appreciate it. Appreciate everything you do with our social media and all of our guys that do the live streams. I know my families watch it, and my parents watch it every night, and just appreciate what you and Alan and Bryson do every day.
Thank you so much. Stay tuned. We'll have Coach John Kehoe talk about soccer as it gets going in full swing. This is Hey Coach on the Patriot Sports Network.
Gumbo is a quintessential Louisiana dish, right? Our gumbo's just got tremendous flavor. It's about quality. If you skip any part of the process, you'll definitely get called out for it, and we just don't do that. Of course, we have salt and pepper shakers on every table, but rarely do we see someone pick them up. If you're gonna do a gumbo, you better do it the right way.
Your smile. It's how you share your truest feelings, your dreams, yourself with the world. And at the Winning Smile, your smile is our passion. That's why we offer in-house financing options, convenient appointment times, and personalized treatment plans to help keep you healthy and discover your confidence to unleash your best smile. Learn more at thewinningsmile.com.
From small-town courtrooms to the Mississippi Supreme Court, our attorneys have over 60 years' experience litigating cases all across Mississippi. The odds say you'll need an attorney at some point, and when you do, you can have the home field advantage with your hometown lawyers right around the corner from MRA. Gladden and Ingram, attorneys at law.
And welcome into the second segment of the Patriot Sports Network. Hey, Coach. Coach John Kehoe, it's the first time joining us on the show.
Thank you for allowing me to be on the show.
Yeah. I tell you what was really fun. Tuesday night, I got to watch your boys play for the first time, and there was a lot of, I want to say the word grit, but determination, I think, in seeing the guys and how they're playing. It's going to be a season where I think the growth is, because you were telling me you have a lot of young guys that are playing, but you see guys that are coming and St. Andrews, you were right there. You're up 1-0, and then 1-1, and it goes back and forth, and we don't have to talk about how it ended, but it was one of those, like, a head scratcher of like, wow, that really just happened. But you got to love the fight in your boys in the 3-2 loss last night.
Yeah, great group of kids. We had a lot of freshman players playing a lot of minutes already. I think we started 5 last night. We started 7 the very first game of the year. We'll have a lot starting tonight again. So yeah, they're going to get a lot of experience as freshmen playing this year in varsity level. So yeah, just looking forward to seeing them grow. We've got a good senior class that are helping them, just with controlling emotions. Last night was an emotional game where you're up, you're down, you're fighting back. A draw is probably a fair result, but these things happen, and we get to learn life lessons through the sport. So it's good.
One person who I like, and I was just watching him play last night, was Luke Carpenter.
What a kid! What a great kid!
Plays goalie, then comes up and plays, I think, center back for you.
Yeah.
Talk about his maturation process of learning a new position and then becoming, like, he was a leader on the field last night.
So nowadays with every goalkeeper, you have to be good with your feet, and we've always been blessed here at MRA with having a great keeper throughout the years. And this year with the graduating class last year and how young we were, I kind of asked him during practices in August, September, could he step on the field, and his response was, the conditioning will be tough, but he'll give it a go for me. So he's been brilliant. He's played, I don't know, nearly every minute of every game so far, and he's done a great job for us. And he actually leads, talks to kids in a good way, and shows frustration, which is good. I like that because it means that he cares. So yeah, he's been one of our standouts so far for sure.
Yeah, I just see how his communication and talking to the guys and pushing the ball forward. As you play as a defender, you got to push the ball up and not let it push back to your goalie. But it's fun to see him learning that new position. And it was a chilly one last night. It was chilly.
It was cold. Thanks to Costco. Shout out to Costco for getting me the heated vest.
Oh, nice.
It was nice last night. Yeah, it was nice on the sideline.
Nice. Let's talk about the season, because you've played a couple of games so far, and one that the growth of your team. You start out, you play Manchester, you played East Rankin in the freezing cold. So any win in sub-freezing temperatures is a good win.
Yeah, look, East Rankin's a really good school. They've got a good coach over there. Reed does a great job, and they were division or state champions last year for a reason. So that was a good win.
But the one, and you and Kenny talked about this last night when we were sitting there. You said the same team at halftime. You said the same team that played St. Andrews was JA, and a common opponent. It was 1-0. JA had won 1-0.
Yeah.
Well, earlier in the week or last week, you play JA and you lose 4-0. So you're starting to see how your team's growing. What do you attribute that to?
High school sports, it's and this can be every sport, not just soccer, but there's games where one little mistake can snowball, or one thing that goes right can snowball into a positive or a negative throughout the game. So really preaching right now about controlling emotions throughout the moment of a game, and not getting too high, not getting too low. And that's the hard part right now for the young ones. But they're maturing pretty quick after 5 games in.
Yeah, you got Corey Elder. You had a group. Drake. You see younger guys making junior, senior moves for your team.
Yeah, Brady Simon, Tyler Triplett, Chase Joyner, Parker O'Reilly.
They didn't look like freshmen last night.
Branton Robertson. No, they're playing beyond their years. Physically was the biggest challenge for them, because we play some big kids, and we've got some big kids ourselves, but just not being shying away from big moments in games, which has been good.
I do like the fact, and we talked about this, Coach Force, the communication piece. You can hear them. There are times where they don't know when to communicate or what to say, but then there's other times when they are communicating. And I think the run that we had to tie it 2-2, Tyler played a great ball. We get the throw in, then we get the corner, and then Beckett buries it in the back of the net. But you see the communication starting to come together right there.
Yeah, they're a great group of boys off the field. It helps, to gel on the field. So yeah, it's just hopefully we can keep momentum or build a bit of momentum. We got a tough one, tonight, because it's been the 3rd game in 3 days, which is great scheduling by the coach. Yeah. But it's hopefully trying to get rest in between Saturdays is a tough one against Hartfield. So.
Yeah, but you mentioned in your post-game talk how those games, the highs and lows, like you just played a very emotional game. Now you got to come back and play a team you should beat and you've already beat, and keep that same intensity level rather than dropping to the level of your opponent.
Right.
And then you get back up, and then on the 13th you play Hartfield Academy. So what are some things that y'all do at practice let's say in that stretch of 3 games in 4 days, like what is the stuff that you work
Well,
on at practice? Or is there much practicing going on?
Well, Thursday is going to be a really light recovery day where they're going to be with Coach Adams down in the weight room, and whoever needs to see our trainer Jared will be in there and just taking care of their bodies really. Friday we'll come out and do about an hour. We'll taper it back, do an hour light stuff and just tweak a couple of things for Hartfield, but nothing. Yeah, not much practicing going on as the game volume is a lot right now.
I got to ask you this. As my son's starting to love soccer, it's freezing. Do you encourage them to wear long sleeves when they play? Because I saw some of them were rolling their sleeves up, some of them wore short sleeves. What do you encourage them on that? Or is there anything like, hey, you do you?
I'm not a massive fan of the cold gear because 90% of them want to take it off when you're playing. If you're on the sideline, you're not playing as much, I get it. But yeah, it's a tough one because you put your leggings on and then you start sweating and you need to take them off and you got to make a sub to do a restroom change. But no, just the adrenaline. Just you don't even feel the cold when you're out there as a player, competing. So yeah.
What do you love? And you've been around soccer your whole life.
Yeah.
Played on a national stage yourself. What do you love so much about soccer?
Look,
What is it when you I love soccer because fill in the blank?
I said it last night, even though we lost, just the emotions of it, the highs, the lows, the boys coming together, the camaraderie, the relationships you have and build and keep for years to come. That even the game last night, that being in it as a player or a coach, just absolutely love those moments
and having a chance right at the end.
Yeah,
we had a chance right at the end to get it back to 3-3.
Yeah, it could have went either way. But just happy with the way they applied themselves. They were good last night.
Going forward, what's the ceiling for this team?
Who knows?
Based on last night.
Yeah, it's just we've got as we've said already in the show, we've got a lot of young kids and we've got a couple of older kids that are nursing a couple of injuries. Mm-hmm. Will Ward has been and always will be a massive player for our program.
Yeah, he didn't play last night.
He didn't play last night. He's coming back from an ACL injury. He's done really good. Played 4 games. He needed a rest last night. He's just got a little tendonitis in his knee, so we'll rest him again tonight. Probably rest him again Saturday and unleash him hopefully in January to get back into it.
A guy that I'm looking at, and I guess he plays left mid, is William Thomas.
Great kid.
Wow, the way he played last night. Now I know Coach Hudnall will be on the show here in a minute, but there's flops in basketball, but they were laying some licks that were questionable fouls, but man, he just got right back up. And you saw that Corey Elder did the same thing last night. The resiliency from your guys of getting down. I mean, it was 38 degrees last night. It was freezing. Taking hard licks. I mean, Luke came in, and I looked at one of your players on the sideline. I was like, I think Luke just broke his toes. But you see him get back up, and you see the emotions coming out in them. So. I started this by William Thomas. Just talk about him for a minute.
William Thomas has the ability to be able to change the game by himself. He can be really special. He can take players on. He scored an unbelievable goal. I think it was Monday. But yeah, he just has that. In any moment, he can change the game for the good. So yeah, I'm just hoping we can have more of those moments.
Right.
And
As we look at your schedule, you have Manchester, then Hartfield, and then you take a break.
It's Christmas time.
Yeah, it's Christmas.
Yep.
Do you practice during Christmas, or what do y'all do?
Yeah, we'll practice next week in between exams and stuff. Make sure that that stuff comes first. So there's students and then athletes, and then they'll have the week off for Christmas. And then we'll come in a little bit before the new year, and then get ready for prep. Prep's the first game back, so we got to get ready for them.
Yeah, you got a lot of home games. As we look down, we got a lot of home games down the stretch, and then we hit the road, and then we finish up pretty strong. But then as you look at this season, it's kind of like basketball. Basketball's conference ends at the end of January, where yours also ends in January. So it's kind of and one thing before we let you go, we're going to talk about this at length. Your boy season is going to overlap with your girl season.
It is.
Any thoughts on that?
First time. It's no. I've got a great staff, boys and girls, and while the boys are in season, Haley Broha and Kenny White are going to take the girls. So I'll be with the boys. They'll be with the girls. Girls, I think first game is February 2nd. So we're in playoffs with the boys. It's a little overlap, but nothing too bad. We've got enough staff here to help out.
Well, good. Anything before we let you go?
No, thanks for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you'll join us all during the soccer season. You'll be here till the end of the school year. You'll join us every week for the show, boys and girls.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to playing a few or talking indoor instead of being outdoor.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
And this will do it for this segment of Hey Coach. That's Coach John Kehoe talking boys soccer. Stay tuned as Coach Harper Hudnall talks about boys action and hoops. This is Hey Coach on the Patriot Sports Network.
At Watkins Construction and Roofing, football is more than just a sport. It's teamwork meets community. And supporting our local teams is just another way we give back. So don't let a leak sneak through your defense. Call the professionals that know how to tackle a leak and protect your home field. Watkins Construction and Roofing. Trust, the beginning of what we build.
Ely's is a proud sponsor of MRA Patriot Athletics. Come try our USDA Prime New York Strip, bone-in filet, New England scallops, or sauteed Gulf crab claws. Ely's also offers an extensive wine list and bar selections. Ely's, upstairs on Jackson Street in Ridgeland. Good luck, Patriots. Boulware Vassar Orthodontics are specialists in creating beautiful smiles for kids and adults with 3 locations in the greater Jackson area. Our orthodontists are experienced, caring, and along with our friendly staff are waiting to align your bite, transform your smile, and boost your self-confidence with multiple treatment options including Invisalign and tooth-colored braces. With 3 offices in Lakeland, Ridgeland, and Clinton, contact Boulware Vassar Orthodontics today.
Dean Architecture, an award-winning architectural firm offering professional services of architecture, planning, and interior design. We are proud to be working with MRA on the new tennis complex and performing arts practice facility. We are excited about our current and completed projects, including the Gluckstadt Police Station, soon to be under construction Hines School of Nursing, Bridle Path, and the Baptist Medical Office Building for Jackson Eye Associates and Mississippi Retina. For leading-edge design and personalized services for your next building project, call Dean Architecture, your architect and proud supporters of MRA Athletics.
And welcome back to our final segment of Hey Coach. Joining is Harper Hudnall, the assistant men's basketball coach here at MRA. And Coach Hud, this is kind of one of those things you see on like 30 for 30 or an E60 of Coach DeWeese's last season. And you're on to a 13-0 start.
Yeah.
And you're playing some really good competition, as in Jim Hill, you've beaten St. Thomas More, Parklane. You've gone on the road, played Oxford High School out of Alabama in a, 20-point, 18-point win, something like that. Talk about the guys so far this season. And you're in a different, this conversation will be a little different because you've played for this program.
Yeah.
So you know the expectation. And where do you see it now compared to years past?
Yeah. Always, I feel like with any team that Coach Deweese has put on the floor, it has always been preached defense first. Effort, energy, hard work on the defensive end. And I feel like we've got a group of guys this year that have really bought into that. That if you can defend, if you can work on the defensive end, what you're going to see is that effort is going to turn into offensive production. Coach Deweese told our guys probably 5th or 6th game into the year, one of the pregame talks he gave, he said, one of his a perfect game for him basketball-wise is when you never have to get set. Like, slow play, you walk it up the court, you get set, you run set plays. Like, he wants a game that's up and down, fast-paced, where we're forcing turnovers on the defensive end, and it's flowing into transition buckets on the offensive end.
Yeah, he mentioned that on the show too.
Yeah,
he said it's one of his favorite things.
We've got some guys that are really bought into that. That we've got to, we've really got to earn our keep on the defensive end.
Well, when you look at the defensive side of the ball, we can talk about offensive production, but defense, as you talked about, 23, 44, 45, 55, 48.
Yeah.
Are your last 6 opponents in the points that they scored. So defense turns into offense, which then helps you win games. So let's go back through and look at, you played Oxford, Alabama, convincing win. But the game that everybody was looking forward to was Jackson Academy being here. And I think one of the coolest things, Patriots win 65-55, one of the coolest things is you saw the student section back out in full force. But the other, I don't think people noticed, was Coach Luis thanking the student section for coming back out. And I think, yes, it's his last season. And I think he's soaking it all in. I think our students are starting to understand, like, wow, this is a legend who's going on his last tour, if you say, I mean, use better words, I guess, but the students are starting to show up.
Yeah.
And for those that, I mean, you remember the Duke crew.
Absolutely.
It's like the Duke crew's back before it was the Pat gang and stuff like that. So let's talk about last night. Parklane comes in. People are like, it's going to be, and y'all did what you're supposed to do. You know, you win 63-23. It's supposed to be like that. You took care of business because much like the girls, y'all play a tough schedule pre-Christmas to get you ready for these games. But talk about the guys against Greenville Christian, who they played on Saturday, and then Parklane, and then we'll talk about who's coming up.
Yeah. So, you know, those were two games going in that we felt like we really could come out of the gate and get into our full court pressure. You know, Coach Luis has done a great job over the years of really developing this full court man-to-man defense where, you know, you can run and jump and really pressure the ball handler as he crosses, put him in a bad spot to where, you know, once he crosses half court, he has nowhere to go other than forward. And if, you know, you rotate correctly, you can really get some steals out of that. And so, you know, in those two games last night and Saturday, we came out in that. And I felt like we did a really good job early of just getting them under pressure, into pressure, and making teams just make some, you know, some bad mistakes under that pressure where we just capitalized. We had good rotation on the backside, and you know those steals turned into fast break layups. And when you look up and it's 12-0, you know, just like that, that's tough the rest of the game to come out of. And so you know, it's not that you look up for us and we see, all right, we got a 12-point cushion, let's relax. It's like, hey, we're in the driver's seat now. Let's continue to
let's push it to 18.
Yeah, let's push it to 18. And you know, last night you saw that with our first group. They jumped out quickly. And then we put our next three guys in, Evan Carr, Bowen Gordon, Aiden Thompson. And those guys just continued to apply that pressure.
Bowen Gordon right now for me is one of those players you're like, wow, he has taken the summer in the weight room and has turned into a gym rat.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have 10 guys that can go on the floor at any time, and you keep the same heartbeat.
Yeah, you know, Bowen's a guy that for years, and I've had the opportunity to coach him since his 7th grade season. He just loves basketball. He loves basketball. It's what he does. And, you know, one thing that we've taught to him over the past several years is, hey, you know, you shoot the ball really well. And you can find some time on the floor because you shoot it well. But we've got to get you to buy into the defensive end.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's one thing we've been seeing this offseason and early in this year is his mindset starting to switch of, hey, it's not just about spotting up, catching, and shooting the open three, but, hey, it's about putting my feet in the ground and doing the dirty work on the other end.
And Coach Luis likes shooting the three.
Yeah, absolutely.
He likes shooting the three. You start seeing that, and you're like, that's kind of his perfect basketball game. His transition, threes, and I was like, that's nice. He goes, yeah, I don't like setting up. And I go back and I think even when you played, it was transition basketball. So as we look forward, you have Jackson Prep Thursday night. You have Brookhaven Academy Friday night. So you have what was a conference game last year. Coach Force and I discussed that for the girls' side. But what does that do for the boys as there's prep sandwiched in a conference game who used to be conference. There's this, I don't want to say weird, but it's just different. It's different. How do y'all attack that?
You know, Coach Luis attacks it the same way he's attacked it every year. Every game matters. You know, he's a competitor. That's one thing I always admired about him when I played for him, and I still admire about him coaching for him. He loves for his teams to compete, no matter who we're playing.
Right.
And so, you know, when you play these games like Jackson Prep, Jackson Academy, Hartfield, just being local games, teams that we see year in and year out, teams that were in our conference last year, that will be back in our conference next year.
Yes.
You know, they mean a lot to get those games. Right. And so, you know, he will continue to preach today in practice and tomorrow. This game matters. You know, Prep's in the middle of a 6 or 7 game losing streak.
Right.
And we can't allow that to affect our mindset going in.
They lost 2 nights, next Tuesday night to Simpson.
Yeah, and that can't mean anything to us because we know going to their place, they are going to play as hard as they can.
It's still a prep MRA rivalry
absolutely.
there. Yeah.
And they're going to want to knock us off. And they're a team that's capable of coming out and knocking down some really big shots quickly. And so, he's just going to be preaching that today and tomorrow. You can't relax. There's no game on our schedule that you can relax. You've got to show up ready to compete.
Well, for you, this is personal to you, and you can hear in his voice that he's been coaching a lot. There's been a lot of yelling going on. What's it like for you playing for him and now coming back, and now you're his assistant in this last ride? Have you seen anything different from him? Have you seen him go back maybe to older ways when you saw me when you were in 9th grade of like, hey, I remember us doing that, and it paid off when we were making our championship runs. Have you seen any comparing and contrasting of that?
I've seen a lot of what you would say kind of some old school practices from him this year.
Yeah.
Going into the season, we knew that this was going to be his last year. But I've been telling people, had that not been made public, had I not known, after that first couple weeks of practice when we were out on the track doing conditioning, running bleachers.
Chairs running
that's when I was
things.
like, I could tell you, hey, something's a little different. That fire, it's there, and I was like, he's ready to roll.
Yeah.
He's ready to get going. He was more excited about game one than I think our players were. And so you're seeing a lot of drills in practice that aren't necessarily, X's and O's, but more so like toughness.
Yeah.
And it's drills centered around, hey, the ones who want to compete, the ones who are tough, the ones who don't give into their feelings when they're tired, they're the ones who are going to, be above the rest at the end of this practice. And you see that translate into our games when it gets tough. Like you look at JA, we're down at halftime, and they're shooting the 3-ball really well.
No, they were throwing in the ocean.
I mean, and we at halftime it was just a lot of negative energy. Not from a standpoint of our guys were pouting or anything, but it was just kind of like, oh, man, these guys, they came to play, and we didn't. And that third quarter run we went on, that's a testament to the practices that he's running. These just, hey, you got to be tough in these moments.
Those old school
adversity.
coaches, whether it be Coach Davis or any of these old school guys, they always say practice is going to be harder than the game, so the game comes easy to you. And you start seeing that, and those older guys, they kind of know what's going on.
Absolutely.
They can teach us younger guys a few new things. But you look at the schedule, before I let you get out of here, the Christmas slate is chock full with more than you bargained for early in the season. So you have Brookhaven Academy that you'll play Friday night, JA tonight, and then Choctaw Central, Heritage, and then Columbus High School, Zachary out of Louisiana, Brother Martin out of Louisiana. And then you finally it's Christmas time.
Yeah.
Let's take a break for a minute.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's fun watching the boys play this year. I know it's exciting for you to see it coming because last year it didn't end like y'all wanted to, and it wasn't a product that you nor Coach Luis was proud of. So you went back to work, and now you're 13-0. And I think that's what's awesome about high school sports, what you put into it, and I guess with any sport, what you put in is what you're going to get out.
Yeah.
And you see it from your guys. I mean, you can hear where the unique place from my office is. I get to hear every practice when y'all are in Dewey's Hall. It's intense.
Oh, yeah.
It's intense.
Oh, yeah.
So anything before I let you go?
You pointed out this upcoming schedule. It's a tough one. We knew going into this week, we had a busy week, and never thought I'd say this, but thankful for exams next week to get a little bit of a break from that.
Right.
But when we come back that next Friday against Heritage, I mean, we go Heritage on Friday, Columbus High School on Saturday, and then you're off Sunday, and then you got Zachary and Brother Martin on Monday, Tuesday, right before Christmas. Those are 4 teams that are really, really good.
Really good.
And those are going to be really tough games for us. But those 4 games are games that we know and we believe that we can not only compete in but win. And so we're looking at, we've got to continue to do our job of getting better each and every day. We can't allow this 13-0 start to just mean we've accomplished something.
Yeah, it's the old mentality, hey, let's go 1-0 tonight.
We talked about it right as we were getting ready to start. 2 years ago, we start 26-0, greatest start in school history. And, we kind of go on a little slump there when we hit conference play. Granted, we turned it around in tournament time and made the overall championship game.
Right.
So as we continue to play these games and continue to, compete in big games and hopefully, get some wins in these big games, we got to be proud of that and allow that to show like the work we've put in. But we can't get comfortable. We got to continue to get into the gym and say, hey, what did we do? What mistakes can we continue to fix so that when we get into the second half of the season, we cannot take steps. We don't take steps back. Just continue to take steps forward and hopefully capitalize in the only fitting way Coach Luis's final year can go.
That's it. One of my buddies, John Ferry, who lives in Missouri, has a thing that he always says: never stop getting better. And that's all we're doing. Is never stop getting better with the competition, with the way you go practice, and the mentality that your guys have going in. So, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, I appreciate you letting me come on.
Yeah, and that'll do it for this week's edition of Hey Coach. Thank you to Coach Force, Coach Kehoe, and Coach Hudnall for joining us today. And Alan Burford, thank you so much to him for always producing excellent content on the Patriot Sports Network. And stay tuned. Tonight, as this airs, you can flip on over to watch the girls play Brookhaven Academy, and stay tuned right afterwards and watch the boys play Brookhaven Academy. Excuse me. It's not Brookhaven. It's Jackson Prep. I'm the day I'm sorry. Exams are getting to me too. So Jackson Prep on Thursday, Brookhaven. It's a lot of basketball.
Yeah.
It's a lot of basketball going on.
Hey, great example there. You cannot look too far ahead.
No, you can't. That is a great example.
Yeah.
Got to stay focused on the task at hand. So we're not playing Brookhaven Academy tonight. We are playing Jackson Prep. So tune into the Patriot Sports Network. After you watch this, watch the girls, watch the boys, and then Friday, you can tune in and watch them play Brookhaven Academy. That'll do it for this week. Thanks, Coach Hud.
Appreciate you.
See you next week on Hey Coach.